Hello, but I hope you're all doing well. Welcome back to another episode of CSGO News. My voice is not back all the way, but it's certainly back enough to make this video on some very debatable topics out there. As always, all of today's stories will be timestamped down below, and I hope you guys are all doing well and enjoy the episode. Let's hop into that first topic, which I would greatly appreciate if you guys could leave a comment down below what your stance is on this, because of the past week or so, the most debatable topic by far is Vitality potentially throwing an ESEA match after they had earned their ESO Pro League spot. So let's give you the background, then I'll give you my thoughts. But let's get the context first out of the way. Now, it's actually Vitality, who of course played the entire ESEA season, 17 matches plus this playoffs, and actually beat Team Sprout to earn themselves an ESO Pro League spot. That was when MBK and of course the boys as well, they did tweet out they could not forfeit their match. That was when they were in playoffs. By this time, they had beat Sprout, they made playoffs, they were going to play against Furia, and they said they could not forfeit the match because if they did, they would then forfeit their ESO Pro League spot, which they did earn after that victory over Team Sprout. So once that did go public, well, yes, it was quite obvious even during the game itself. These guys they weren't playing their best. If you guys actually watched the game, they were playing with PB Bisons. RPK was opping, and you know when you have one of the best oppers in the entire world and you give it to RPK, you know something's up. So they actually lose that series against Furia, and well, ever since then, all heck has broken loose. And here's why I'm super curious what you guys think about this. Feel free to give me a full elaboration, because when it comes to this, it is nothing like the iBuyPower situation, but on top of that, I must side with a few of you out there. This is certainly not professional. When you reach this level of Counter-Strike, you expect professional teams out there and the organizations to expect their players to play the matches to the fullest of their ability, which they clearly did not. It was very unorthodox play. Like I said, RPK was opping. They were using Deagles and PB Bisons. They made it quite obvious they were not trying to win the match whatsoever. They were trying to lose the match, so they had more time to prep for other things out there, which we'll talk about in a second. And I do want to kind of go on the first basis of this is not professional. Competitive integrity wise, it's not the right thing to do, and I do really feel bad for anyone who did put money on this match, as they were not trying to win the match. But when I give you the context as well, hopefully it can shift your opinion a little bit. But again, it's kind of hard to take a side here on this topic, because what they did was not the right thing to do. But if you're actually the players, was it the right thing to do, is a completely different question. Because when you think about how little time these guys have had to prepare for big events out there this year, you know, all the events they've had to qualify for, this is actually one of the biggest breaks they have had during the entire year of 2019 so far. After losing that match, they got a half day extra of rest to then prep for IEM Chicago, which they obviously took precedence over, because when you look at the actual event, ESEA itself, when they lost out there, what they lose out on, they still got their EPL Pro League spot, or their ESL Pro League spot, and they missed out on a grand total of $15,000 in prize money. So obviously the players, because that match did not mean anything to them, they actually came to earn that ESL Pro League spot. They earned it. They were then forced to actually play those playoff matches, which were for nothing but $15,000 in prize pool earnings. The players themselves decided it was better off for the team to lose that match, earn a half day of rest and prep time for IEM Chicago, a much bigger event for these guys and a chance they have to win and take another title in 2019. So the players chose to sacrifice that event, or those remaining matches, or at least that one series, to actually prep for another event, because they've had such little rest time. And does that make it okay for them? Again, it's a very weary topic. I will not lie, it's very debatable, but there are certainly two sides to this story, and it does go on. Because this Vitality roster has not just competed one ESEA season, they also competed last season. They competed in those 17 matches. They made playoffs, but because that last ESEA season was not playing out for an ESL Pro League spot, they forfeited their time in those playoffs because they had qualified for this season of ESEA. So they play those last 17 matches, they forfeit playoffs because it qualified from this season. They play 17 more matches, they make playoffs, and again, they make playoffs at the ESEA Global Challenge. They earn their ESL Pro League spot, and you still expect a team to try and want to compete for an extra $15,000 after playing over 34 matches with their busy schedule. And again, you throw into the fact that yes, they are so busy. They've had to qualify for nearly every event they've attended so far this year, and so when it comes time to playing an extra series or two where they've already gained their ESL Pro League spot, and it's really only the organizer themselves, ESEA requiring them to actually play it out, do you really expect the players to give it their best ability when they've already played 34 matches, they've already earned their ESL Pro League spot, and they have another big event coming up around the horizon that they want to prepare for, yet you're forcing them to play these extra series? I'm not trying to say like I'm on Vitality's side here, okay? I'm trying to ride the fine line. I understand competitive integrity wise, what they did is not right whatsoever. If again, the small, the few, the proud of you guys who actually bet on the game, I would feel very, very upset, especially if you are a huge Vitality fan and you put a large sum of money on them just to see them kind of throw the game away. But when you look at what they actually chose to do and why they chose to do it, there are certainly two very solid arguments here, and I hope there's hopefully not a punishment in store for this lineup, which I don't expect there will be. So what could be summed up is that yes, these guys had fun. They joked around, and what sums up to be an ESEA match, they still place top 4, they still earn an ESL Pro League spot, and they gain a half day to actually prep for a much bigger tournament. There are going to be two sides of the debate. I want you guys to understand, I definitely see both sides of that. I think the biggest conflict of interest here comes down to if a team or if the community is okay with this, it's the potential for other teams to get away with it. If they did it correctly, they could throw a match because that match was technically useless. Although, yes, Vitality certainly I highly expect did not do that. It's a potential for other teams to get away with it just because on the basis and grounds that we set for Vitality, because they gave so much commitment, yes, these matches were useless. Is it okay then to do what they did? You guys can leave your comments and thoughts down below. I'm trying to ride the line here. I really do not have too big of an issue with it, but I do definitely understand where the big concern is for a few people out there who were a bit upset by this. I'm just saying though, you know, for the ESL New York qualifiers, Vitality chose not to go there. They were going to play against Sprout in the opening series. They didn't choose to actually attend that event. A couple of days later, they play Sprout for that ESL Pro League spot. They take the ESL Pro League spot over Sprout, and now, of course, we do have them avoiding the playoff series against Furia and other teams where they could have exposed tactics, and now Vitality goes to an IEM Chicago where the field looks pretty promising for a strong Vitality, and it's except for Liquid, who they met up against at their last event, ESL Cologne. So Vitality, big brain plays, although sometimes big brain plays have a little bit of backlash with them. Now, also, speaking of clips out there, guys, it's going to be FNX, announced by both Fur and FNX himself. Apparently, he will be back coming sometime soon, and here's what he had to say about that. I couldn't really tell if it's a few weeks or a few months, but here's FNX himself saying he will be back.
A primeira notícia é: FNX is back in few weeks, my friend, or few months, my friend. I need to wait to the best opportunity. Do you know me? Do you hear me? Do you understand me? Do you speak English, or you need speak Portuguese for you guys?
So obviously your first thought might be, will he play for MIBR? You know, because first said he was coming back, FNX did as well. He is also a brand ambassador for MIBR. On top of that, I think a lot of us would agree we would like to see someone else take the place of FNX, returning to this MIBR roster, who's going to replace Zeus eventually after the major, because FNX has been gone for so long. Who knows how good this guy has it anymore? I think a lot of us, you know, expected the potential rumors out there for Henny to rejoin his brother Lucas on that new MIBR roster, maybe pulling a random fellow like KNG as well. But either way, FNX is apparently coming back. Will he come back to MIBR? Who knows? If he does not, though, is he no longer a brand ambassador? Probably not. So we will see what team he does land on. And speaking of players who will land on teams for sure will be Flusha. Actually confirmed thanks to a response to a Don Hossie tweet a couple of days ago, guys. Flusha has confirmed now he will be back from his extended break after the major, and we all know offers will be on the table. Of course, current rumors out there could be an NIP, other Swedish lineups. Pretty much anyone wants this guy right now on their lineup, so we will see where Flusha does go after the major, and FNX will be right alongside him. And very lastly, for all of you guys in CSGO news, hey, it could be more debatable than the Vitality topic. I have to talk about it though, guys. It's Cloud9's heroic jump. This is, at least to my knowledge, guys, the biggest rankings jump of all time on HLTV rankings. Cloud9 jumped 281 spots and cracked the top 20 after just a single event, that being Blast Pro LA. Again, you guys can leave your thoughts down below about this, but I think a large majority of us can agree they probably did not deserve to jump 281 spots. Maybe not even the jump is the issue, but the jump into the top 20, passing many teams out there who have had a lot better results in the past few months. We have a new Cloud9 roster. They go to Blast Pro LA. They win one map in a best of one against FaZe Clan. Yes, they tie MIBR, who had a coach in. Yes, they tie NRG, another NA team who they've certainly had their experience against. And all of a sudden, they jump 281 spots just because they placed top 4 by winning one best of one. Yes, just me saying that, it sounds pretty extreme. Even when Ryan, the Cloud9 fanboy of us all, when he says it's not deserved, well, I think we can all agree it's probably not deserved. But either way, it has to be mentioned because this is the most historic rankings jump of all time at HLTV, and it's done by a North American team. So whether they deserve it or not, I don't really mind too much, because Mixwell's on the lineup. It's a North American team, and another record for them to hold. So pretty cool to see Cloud9 jumping. Do they deserve to be there in the top 20? We will certainly find out in the coming events, because, you know, if they do perform well, keep it up as they, you know, I was going to say as they have, but they really haven't shown us much yet. But who's to say they don't stay inside the top 20, guys? We will have to see how it plays out and how these guys keep it up, because now that they're there, they can really solidify their spot inside the top 20 and make their climb back to where they once were on top of all of that. So as always, I hope you guys all enjoy it. My name is Jake, and CSGO news this week is going to be pretty crazy. I got several videos for you guys planned. The next one should be, and unless anything does come up in CSGO news, we're going to talk about the major rules. Decay does a great favor. He actually broke down the major rules and how they apply to a few of the teams out there, although I must say there are still a bunch of question marks going forward about the major rule set and how it's affected different teams out there. So expect that video coming soon, and there will be a debate with that, because some of the teams, it seems to me, were treated a bit differently than other teams, and we'll talk about that in that video. As always, I hope you guys all enjoy. Thank you again for all the birthday wishes yesterday and all the likes in that video. You guys, that means a lot to me. So I will see you all next time. Take care of yourselves. Until then, drink coffee, have fun. See you soon.